I am Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Susie.
And we're paranormal specialists who live in the most haunted city on earth, Savannah, Georgia. Every day is Halloween in our line of work, so join us as we spin true tales of haunts, murders, and disturbing Savannah history. I'm Madison.
I'm Chris.
And welcome to the most haunted city on earth. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Most Haunted City on Earth. My name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Susie.
And today we have a local celebrity to the Parajunkies and also all the fans of this podcast. We have Jameson here. Yes, the infamous Jameson has finally arrived in Savannah. And so he is here to join us today for a From One to Wicked episode. So, Jameson, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into it. Jameson is our youngest listener, actually, which is very exciting.
Yes, a true fan.
You should probably watch the last episode of the Season 1 podcast.
Is that your favorite episode?
Honestly, my favorite episode has to be the one where he talked about that haunted house and the chains
in
guy.
Germany?
Yes. That's a crazy story. It really is.
It's how I got hooked, so I'm hoping to hook everyone else.
Absolutely. And oh, yeah.
So there's this, and then there's, gotta get it out, okay. Then there's this.
Ooh. Yes.
I don't even have that much merch.
I don't either.
I feel like such a total slacker.
I know. I'm like over here with my lame phone case and all that. I'm like, I could have a fun phone
have
case.
Anything on my phone case.
But yeah, Jameson's all decked out, so we're really excited to have him here. And Ashley Werner, for all the people who are on the Facebook page with the fan base and all that jazz, if you're in the Parajunkie Discord, TikTok, you probably have seen her name pop up a few times. She's also here. If you've listened
to any of our Q&As and some Ghostmails,
yes.
Yeah, Ashley is an active member, which should go out to all of you. Be like Ashley.
Be like Ashley.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. You go. Indoctrinate your children.
Yeah. But for today's episode, we're actually going to be rating Annabelle. Are you familiar with the Annabelle doll?
I've only heard it pop up on like commercials on the TV.
Okay.
Sure.
That's enough information that we can work with. So trust me, I'm going to give you a deep dive.
It's best to go in blind.
Right. Yeah, get a better accurate rating.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
All right, so let's go ahead and roll on into it. So for those of you who may only have seen the Annabelle movie from the Conjuring series, Annabelle does not look like that at all.
Not even a little.
She is actually a Raggedy Ann doll, which
is almost creepier,
really,
when it comes down to it.
It really is. Before we started filming, Chris and I were actually talking about how he said that the Raggedy Ann dolls used to actually have a heart in them.
That was the whole selling bit of it, was that they made a little pillow heart and they put it inside every Raggedy Ann and Andy doll, because Raggedy Ann and Andy were brother and sister, I think.
I think that's right.
I think as children, I thought they were like husband and wife, but that was weird. So because they look exactly alike.
Exactly.
These dolls, they actually would make little hearts and put them inside the fluff of the body. And I confessed that we had a Raggedy Ann doll in my house when I was a child, and I performed surgery on her just to find the heart, because somebody said she had a heart. I'm like, I got to see this heart. What was the heart? So and I went into the seam of the neck and just kind of dug until I found the heart, and indeed she did have a heart. Of course, later when I found out about Annabelle being a haunted demon doll, I thought, oh no, I tore the heart out of one of those things.
Yeah. So there's that, and that brought up the question in our minds: if Build-A-Bears are haunted because of the same idea, right? It's very ritualistic when you build a bear.
you fill it with stuff and you put the heart in. It's
give it hugs and give it a bath. At least in the older days of Build-A-Bear,
that's how you make a homunculus.
Yeah, essentially.
That's a big word, homunculus.
Homunculus.
It means little person.
Honestly, that's kind of
Oh, boy.
Yeah, my bed is surrounded with them, so I'm kind of scared
So keep your eyes on them.
Yes. Absolutely. It's okay.
Well, it was bad when they started like arming them. It's like that Build-A-Bear has a lightsaber. I don't know if I want to deal with that.
I don't want to deal with that haunted Build-A-Bear. But if you have a haunted Build-A-Bear story, send it over to us. Because I'm very curious about that.
Or any haunted doll story.
Absolutely.
We don't like haunted dolls here.
Yes.
But we do like haunted doll stories.
So, into our haunted doll story for today, Annabelle. So she was owned by a nursing student named Donna. And when Donna was preparing to graduate from college, she was living in a small apartment with a woman named Angie. And so Donna's birthday rolled around, basically, and her mom went out and bought her a Raggedy Ann doll as a present, which Donna was like 28 at this point. So I was like, that's an interesting choice of a present.
Mothers will never think you're an adult.
No.
No matter how old you get, your mom is still going to think you're a little kid.
And
that's a fact. I mean, Jameson, your mom thinks you're a kid, right? I mean.
Mostly because I am, but.
Oh, well, yeah. Beside the point.
Yes. Well, when you're 28, your mom will still think you're a kid, which is okay.
And she will buy you a haunted doll.
Yeah.
Yay!
Woo! Yes. So her mom buys her this as a present, and after the night of celebrating with her friends and family, Donna placed the doll on her bed. Now, it is questionable of whether or not Donna slept with Annabelle at all, but she definitely used her as decor for her bed. So Annabelle always stayed on the made bed. Now, within a few days of having Annabelle in the apartment, Donna and Angie started noticing strange things. So the doll seemed to move around the house when no one was home. And at first it was just like small movements that could be kind of written off as, maybe the doll, like they misplaced the doll or they may have knocked it over or something. But as time went on, the doll would move into different rooms and into different positions. Sounds a lot like Robert the doll.
A lot of people think that the Annabelle stories were heavily influenced by Robert the doll. Like if you were going to create a story, you could see where if you had heard the Robert the doll stories and then you kind of conflate them to a ghostly encounter you had with a doll, and it may have been small things that they reported larger, or it could be that behavior is a usual thing for dolls.
Sure. Or maybe it's a similar entity.
It could be a similar entity, absolutely.
So, and basically, the doll would seem to move around the house when no one was home, completely on its own. And that was just the start of the creepy things that would happen. And the girls would continue to ignore the doll and simply just move it back.
Yeah.
If a doll starts walking around my house, I'm not going to just move it back. I'm going to probably...
We should probably know this was the early 70s.
Yeah.
So... They weren't full of stories of ghostly dolls or things like that. So
that's true.
It wasn't commonplace. Like now, you would immediately think, "Oh, those scary movies! I know all this. I've seen this before." They didn't really see all that before. I mean, this was even before The Exorcist came out. So
that's true.
The public knowledge of haunted things. There was that Telly Savalas Twilight Zone, which a doll bullies him.
Yeah, it was a simpler time for demons back then before everybody got some knowledge.
Right.
But
that's true.
No, it only got creepier. And eventually, they ended up inviting... Sorry, the ghosts are not happy I'm sitting in their chair right now. So if you hear any creaks or cracks or things like that, things moving about back there, I took their rocking chair today and they haven't been pleased. But anyways... Yeah, I know. It's common occurrence in here. But so basically, they ended up inviting a medium over. And the medium, which really, what I question with this medium is how she got this information and didn't think anything was off about it. But she said, so the spirit communicated through her essentially and said that they were a young, harmless girl and they're just looking for a place for their spirit to reside. And so she basically said, don't worry about it. It's just a child spirit. It's nothing that's going to bother you. She just likes the doll, basically. So this would end up where Annabelle, the doll, would start writing on parchment and things like that. And it would ask the girls, can I live in Annabelle? Or can I live in the doll? And them thinking, oh, it's just a child spirit. She just likes the doll. Of course you can live in the doll.
And anybody who's listened to this podcast long enough knows that invitations are bad.
Invitations are really bad. Don't do that.
Can I come in? If somebody says, can I come in? The answer is no.
No,
No, you cannot.
You cannot do that.
You stay on the outside.
I'm still scared of that room back there.
Yeah.
That's a very valid feeling.
We are grateful that you are keeping a close eye on that, because it is... There is some creepy creepies going on in the back room.
There's lots of creepy creepies in that room. But now, after they allowed the entity to basically possess Annabelle, that was when the sinister stuff started to happen. So you know how we said that Annabelle would write on parchment and things like that? Well, you see, she started writing new messages that would say, help us, or help Lou.
Uh-oh. Mm-hmm. Uh-oh.
Now, that is not just a random kind of name. Lou actually was a very significant character in this story because Lou was a friend of Donna and Angie's, and Lou would come over to the apartment pretty often. Well, you see, the doll started displaying some really strange behavior, and on multiple occasions, the three would notice red, wet substances on her hands.
Nope.
So, yep, some blood on her hands, which is always delightful.
Party foul.
Right? And Lou would experience a strange incident with deep claw marks scratched into his chest. Mm-hmm. Now, there are other occurrences where Donna, particularly, would wake up with Annabelle standing over her with a knife, and other occurrences of this nature where it seemed like Annabelle was trying to kill them. So they end up calling in the Warrens. If you're not familiar with the Warrens, they are Ed and Lorraine Warren. They are some of the most celebrated paranormal investigators in history, at least modern history. And so they tend to handle a lot of times the different extreme cases because Ed Warren particularly was kind of a celebrated demonologist. So they come in and they immediately kind of noted that this might be a demonic spirit. Then they find out that, they had invited the spirit in. All the clues are pointing that this needed some kind of further extent of exorcism of sorts, because they believed that it was still in the infestation period of time. And they believed also that it was able to teleport to get the attention of the occupants of the apartment, which is very interesting because I don't recall the Warrens being very into all of the other kind of yakety schmackety type interdimensional sort of things. So very interesting that this particular doll gave them that notion. But at the conclusion of their investigation, and Lorraine decided the best course of action would be to exorcise the doll and remove the spirit from the apartment. It's always, the preferable method. But they invited in a father named Father Cook to perform the exorcism, even though he was extremely uncomfortable with it. He did not like whatever energy was coming off of Annabelle, and he wasn't particularly excited to do this. But
and it can't really look good on your career, resume. It's like,
right,
fought a doll.
I fought a doll, a haunted doll.
Ideally, you'd want something a little more, noteworthy.
Right.
I fought a Build-A-Bear.
It was a tough battle. But
it was a tough battle. I barely survived. It was cuddly, though.
It was. Now, he performs the ritual, and the Warrens agreed to take the doll with them to ensure no one would fall victim to the doll again. And so the Warrens would arrive home, and there were multiple times where the doll levitated. And so they decided that it would probably be best to build a box, essentially, to contain Annabelle. Because not only were they seeing it levitate, but also they felt there was an intense hatred coming from the doll. And it definitely was necessary if it was going to live in the Warrens Occult Museum. To protect visitors, it needed to have some safety precautions around it. And we can insert a picture of Annabelle in her little box. It literally says, I think the little sign in front of it says like under no circumstance do
not open.
Literally, it's and she's super freaky looking. But now Annabelle nowadays, interestingly enough, there is one particular death that is associated with Annabelle. And that was a motorcyclist who was actually kicked out of the Warrens Museum. He died on his way home.
Yep.
And a lot of people believe that it was Annabelle who killed him on his way home. But
didn't he open the case? Wasn't that
yes,
the reason why he was kicked out?
Yes. Yeah. Now, so Annabelle still remains in her case for the most part.
She goes on tour.
She does. She
now,
goes on
so
tour, which is such a bad idea.
It doesn't seem right. Doesn't seem like a good idea. Although the case, I mean, they don't pull it. They take the case.
Right.
You know, she's still cased up.
She is, but I just don't think she needs to be going anywhere on any vacations. But
no.
You see, it is actually Tony Spira, who is the son-in-law to Ed and Lorraine, and he currently runs the museum and all that. So he has basically been working with the New England Society for Psychic Research for 30 years.
I was going to say, that's the Ed and Lorraine. Mm-hmm. That's their organization that I believe they began, because it runs out of the museum,
yes,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he has cared for the doll and shares all of his experiences oftentimes. He is actually publicly stated that doll is what I'd be most frightened of.
Sure.
So if you're like the kid of Ed and Lorraine Warren, or well, he's a a son-in-law, kid adjacent,
yeah.
To Ed and Lorraine Warren, and that's what scares you. That says a lot.
That museum is chock full of scary, scary things.
Of really awful stuff. And many believe, including him, that the doll has the power to kill. And so that was especially noted after the motorcyclist died on his way home. And also, Spira would also comment on saying that, noting the case of the motorcyclist who died after leaving the museum, never take things like this lightly, thinking it's a joke. And that's a good way to operate if you're going to be dealing with haunted objects.
Better safe than sorry, really.
Well, because it's the same way with Robert the Doll. And you see a lot, which partially makes me wonder if it's a similar entity or in the same kind of facet.
Throughout history, the concept of spirits like going into dolls, that's a big thing.
Oh, sure.
People believe that. As a matter of fact, puppetry was outlawed for a number of years because of the fear of bringing dolls to life. It's like, hi there. It's like, no, that's wrong. Dolls don't talk. They don't move. Stop that. Knock it off. So there have been instances where people realize that spirits are looking for bodies. And when you take on like a human, you got to push the human out of the body. That's a lot of extra work. If you see a doll, you're like, there's nobody in there. Mm-hmm. I'll just creepy crawl my way in there and boogity boogity.
And go ahead.
I kind of want to open the case.
I wouldn't recommend that. I know, seriously.
Jameson and JT have the same philosophy, which is, let's find out. No, let's not.
Let's not mess around with it.
When it says do not open, do not open. I don't know. What are you teaching, Ashley, over there?
See, and the thing is I wonder if Annabelle is as intense as Robert the Doll. Because Robert the Doll, you look at him wrong and he's like, well, you're dead.
There's another doll that has that same, and I think it's in Zach Bagans' Museum in Las Vegas. It's a doll that if you look at it wrong, terrible things happen, and they have all this footage of people looking at the doll or sneering at the doll, and then getting a nosebleed or getting very dizzy and feeling a little off, and it's like, don't do it.
Swell.
All you have to do is look at the doll without being a jerk, and people they're like, nah, show me what you got. Oh, nosebleed. And you're like, what'd you expect?
It doesn't want you to look at it.
It doesn't. Don't do that.
Now, Chris, you said you've seen the Annabelle doll, right?
I have, yes.
So what were your feelings about it?
So here's the thing. The more innocuous, the more pleasant a thing is when you're told that it's very dangerous, it takes on a very sinister thing, because this is something that you could see anywhere. You know, we had a Raggedy Ann doll in my house, and it was bigger than me for a lot of my life. When I was really young, it was, you know, a little bigger than me, and I grew, you know, outgrew it at some point. But I grew up with a Raggedy Ann doll, and so to see it and say, this is a killer doll, it's like, I know that doll. I've seen that doll. That doll's been in my house staring at me day and night. And it's a very, it almost looks like a scarecrow. It has a lot of scarecrow-like features. You know, I think its nose is a triangle. It's got little bead eyes, drawn-on smile. So just being in the presence of it and noting the precautions, noting this big glass case, noting that, you know, it is separated and nestled in its own space. And it says, do not open, Jameson. Do not open.
Yes.
I know, but that's just gonna
Do not open, Jameson.
That's just gonna make people want to open it more.
This is fair. It's very tempting.
It is very tempting.
Unless you have a healthy dose of terror.
Yeah.
Healthy dose of terror keeps you from opening the spooky. So
Right? Yeah. That's exactly. It can teleport.
it can teleport. Well, and that was the interesting thing, because a lot of people were like, well, what do you do when you have these haunted items? And a lot of people believe that you can build boxes and structures that are engineered to keep spirits from getting out. Ideally, it involves putting symbols on it, using holy water to seal it, using all kinds of specific types of wood. All these things keep spirits from just going, you know, willy-nilly. But there's a door.
Yes.
And the door is the issue. Why didn't you just seal it shut
Right.
so that you couldn't open it?
The sign says positively, do not open. There you go. That's
Positively do not open.
isn't that creepy looking?
I don't know.
That's fair.
I have
No.
to say that looking at it, of course, it is so commonplace. It's not it's not scary looking by any stretch of the imagination. But when you add in the immense precautions and you add in the fact that this is just something simple in a house. This is something that, you know, that could be anything. You know, you got that weird little porcelain doll. Stay away from it. You got that weird little, you know, knick-knack or brick-brack that you picked up on the side of the road at some tourist attraction. It might have a ghost in it. So yeah, I'm a firm believer of listen to the professionals. And when they say do not open, do not go near, do not taste, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
The you know, my grandmother was an avid collector of dolls and things like that, which I think partially influenced my intense fear of them.
Isn't there a haunted doll in this building?
There's two.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're up there. Yeah, so, yep, right up there. They can see us, but we can't see them.
Oh, well, that's exactly what I want to hear
Yeah.
about haunted dolls.
Oh, yeah, it's my childhood haunted doll, and then the haunted doll that JT's dad found in a storage unit where he has no idea where it came from, but it has a crack in the face, so that's fun.
Oh, good.
You know?
Teleporting dolls, you know, probably landed on its face the last teleport.
Absolutely. But my grandmother had both Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy.
Right.
As well, and I always thought they were creepy too. And then when I heard about this, I was like, no. But you know, dolls are just inherently creepy because it feels like you're looking at something almost human,
Right.
but there's no intelligence behind it. My grandmother had this massive baby doll. It was the size of a toddler that was given to me. And I hated this doll because I also think this one's haunted and I don't know what happened to it. But she gave it to me because it was her doll when she was a kid, and she grew up very poor. So her mom would sew all the doll clothes for this doll. There's a lot of intention and love put into this thing, but it does not feel loving, if that makes sense.
Especially when you come to that. When you come to something that was loved by a person and then is passed on, that separation, you know, that love that was from another person, it's not there anymore. The person who was doting on it, the person who was doing, you know, all this work on it, it's gone. And now, you know, in grief and sorrow and rage, the whatever spirit happens to be around is like, why aren't you making me a dress?
Right.
Why aren't you, you know, combing my hair? Why aren't you preening? You know.
So that one was even creepier too, because first off, it's like this big, For those of you watching on YouTube, it's massive, but it's a baby. It has no hair. It has black eyes.
Nope, don't want
and
that.
it has eyelids that are supposed to be like when you lift it up, it opens its eyes, and then when you lay it down, it closes its eyes. But it would do it on its own. And my parents did not believe me for the first few years of me being like, watch, it'll blink. And then they're like, no, it's fine. I'm telling you, just dolls suck. They are so creepy.
I was doing a dinner theater ghost thing for this company, and I have a series of haunted items. And I brought one that was a doll with that same mechanism where you lay it down and you sit it up and its eyes flutter, except its eyes were gone. So it's just like hollow sockets, which by itself, very scary, right? You're looking at a doll and it's like, where's its eyes? I don't know. Scary. So one night I was doing the show and I heard click from the doll. The doll just went click. I was like, that's weird. Went up to the doll and its eyes were back.
What?
Yeah. I sent you that picture, didn't I? I think I did.
Those poor people.
I think I did. I'll look it up. But it was when we were doing that dinner theater show. It was ages ago. But yeah, I was like, that doll doesn't have eyes, and now it does. And what's worse was they weren't the eyes; they were just white, like they were just white, and it was really creepy.
Splendid.
So that doll's in my trunk right now.
Maybe that's why that restaurant closed down.
Yeah, that's true. That restaurant closed down.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
Those poor people were probably just trying to eat their pork chop in peace. And then Chris is like, look, it has eyes now. Oh, God. This is the first I'm hearing about this, but...
Let me see if I can't find it. Please, continue.
But yes, so, Annabelle still to this day, I think, instills a lot of fear into people. One, because a murderous doll is just horrifying. I mean, there's so many franchises of different dolls like killer dolls and things like that in horror. And I think it's just intrinsically scary to imagine something that's so soft with no bones being able to move around and hold knives and write on things and all that stuff. But I definitely agree in the assumption that it was something demonic. And if it is allowed to live in this vessel for however long it plans to stay in there, that takes it up a notch in my rating personally. And especially because it has actually harmed people and then also believed to have killed someone. That takes them pretty high, or it pretty high in my rankings.
Yes, that does change a little the sensations behind it.
Because what did we rate Robert the Doll, Jay? Do you remember? I want to say we rated him like an 8 or something. 7 or 8. Really? I think I gave it an 8 because Robert the Doll also has killed people, and his was a lot less. Allegedly.
He has not been put on trial.
He has not been put on trial, but in the trial of me,
yes.
I believe he did it.
In the court of public opinion, he's a murdering doll.
He is. And so is Raggedy Ann.
Annabelle, not all Raggedy Anns. I don't want people to be going, I got a Raggedy Ann at home.
Well, Annabelle and
like
my grandmother's Raggedy Ann. She was freaky too. So I personally feel like I'm good to rate Annabelle. Do you feel like you have a good feel on your rating? Okay, do you want to go first?
6.2.
6.2.
Oh, 6.2. Well,
he said not
Jameson
good
wants
enough.
to open the case, so yeah, I guess he doesn't feel the...
He's like, I need more gore. I need a few more body counts to get a better score here.
Occasionally burst into flames.
Yeah. But what? Yeah. What's your justification for your 6.2?
They just put it in a box. A box will not stop a haunted doll. People must know.
Okay, well, we're going to call up
Mr.
Sherpa, or whatever his name was. What,
Sherpa? Spiro, right?
No, it's like Spira or something like that. Hold on. It's,
Spira?
Spera.
Spera, yeah.
Spera.
Sherpa?
Sorry, names can be hard. But Jameson, we're going to have to call him up and you need to tell him this because clearly they are lacking and you need a job at this haunted museum.
Well, no, don't put Jameson near the doll.
He's going to unleash everything. He's like, Dybbuk box, let's see what happens.
Yeah, right. What's all this salt doing here?
Honestly, probably.
Yeah, so,
there it is.
okay. Oh, God. Oh, my God.
So this is the doll, and the eyes came back.
What? Oh.
As a matter of fact, this is the doll without the eyes. And then one night, click, and I looked at it, and I said, no, thank you.
Oh, my gosh. Well, if it starts growing teeth like Okiku, then we know.
I'll send this to...
Yeah. That's nauseating. Oh, my gosh.
Well, my
one
guess
would
is
think.
that the mechanism, the eyes just popped into the head because the eyes aren't there at all. I mean, you can't see them at all. But when it went click, it just popped back up. And I was like, that's unpleasant. It's an unpleasant sensation when eyes just pop back.
Yeah.
Like, I could almost see it, like, going away. Going away makes sense, there's some mechanism, but having them, like, they must have been in the head somewhere.
Emerged.
And then they were like, oh, lock. And then they weren't even the eyes. They were like the back marbly. Here,
Splendid.
you can... That's what happened. It's unpleasant.
That's very unpleasant.
And as a matter of fact, now that I look at it, the eye is broken.
Yeah.
It's like cracked.
Yeah. It's like...
Look at it.
I hate it. Oh,
Jameson,
God.
do not open.
Wait, is that here right now?
It's in my trunk of my car.
You should grab it so we can see it on camera.
Definitely.
I'll be right back.
Definitely.
Yes.
Oh, no, I said I'll be right back.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, the flesh color is very unnerving. Gosh. Yeah, it's the fact that it rose, which makes me question, because I'm like, how old is this doll, first off? And why, at that very moment, did it decide, like, I can still see you? But back to my ratings, I'm going to give Annabelle a solid 7.5. Just because there is wiggle room there where we could be skeptical if the guy riding the motorcycle, maybe he was just bad at riding a motorcycle and it just had some bad luck that day. But also, don't open the box. You know what's going to happen. It says positively do not open. So, but Annabelle, just being the type of entity that wants to come at you with a knife and stalk around your house and want to possess things, not high on my list of entities I really want to deal with. So what was that? 7.5 is a good rating in my opinion. JT, would you like to give your rating?
No, I actually I wanted to ask Jameson, do you have like a scary story that's ever happened to you?
Actually, I did have something yesterday that happened to
Ooh,
me. So
okay.
We were stopping by the Mercer house, and I took a picture of. Oh wow! I took a picture of the shop, and in the in one of the windows, it was like the box that like circles the faces. The box was there, but there was nothing actually there. So. And I take the picture, and I even scroll in on it, and there's nothing there. There was nothing there.
Oh, well, I mean, of course that would happen to you because you're very open to these things, and I'm not surprised that you immediately had a paranormal experience while you were here in Savannah. I'm very. Oh God, she clicks.
Yeah, she makes all kinds of she makes all kinds of weird noises. She's not pleasant at all.
It's the fact that she's so bendy.
She's very bendy.
She
And I was like trying to figure out, I was like, what are you made of? And it seems like
why are her hands and her arms lumpy? Like,
and there's a joint. There's
multiple joints.
She's very odd. And because like, if you listen, it's like, I'm not sure what she's made of. It's, and yeah, it's very odd. She's a very odd thing. And She is
She's delightful.
she's delightful.
I thought it had eyes.
So that's the thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't it? She doesn't have eyes, but
Told you. She clicks.
one night she did, and I'm like, is it in there? Do I do this?
Do you shake her?
I don't want to shake the baby.
Try
Jameson,
putting it
don't shake the
upside
baby.
down. Shake. Dun, 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 dun,
Absolutely.
Sure, you can hold it. Yeah, there you
Okay,
go.
yep,
Oh, that's
shake.
a rattly sound.
Yep.
Rattly, scary sound.
Rattly Andy. Over here.
Okay, you could just lie down.
Where's where's Kalani when we need him? Honestly,
Kiss the doll.
kiss the baby doll. Yeah, she's
It almost looks like paper mache, doesn't it?
It does. That's why I'm saying. Why is it lumpy?
It's and her joints are. She has joints, which is she's a well-made doll. I will say
Is
that.
she? Because she doesn't match her skin tones at all. Like she's pink here and then tan.
I think that's time.
Okay.
I think time had a different reaction to because this is glossy.
Huh? Oh, you have not given your rating yet. I'm going to.
So my Annabelle rating is a solid 8.
Okay.
And if Annabelle were not in the case, it would probably go up. But since she is in a sealed, warded, and guarded case, I say 8. I wouldn't make faces at her. So yeah, I say 8. Why are you
Have
doing?
you ever looked inside this?
I don't know. What are you doing? Do not peer into the soulless eyes of the doll.
Okay, well, if you look inside of it, it's got this like little bulb in there that's got like a membrane that like.
None of those words are things I want to hear about a doll.
Because I'm looking in there to see.
Well, and here's another thing is there's a way when you're looking at her where it almost seems like there's a glow. Do you see the glow?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it looks like there's a glow inside the eye, which I can't really figure out. I mean, I'm guessing there are holes in where. Oh, the head is really gnawed, like bumpy. Like if I were a phrenologist, I'd say this is pure evil. But yeah, this is the classic haunted doll, and I'm just gonna leave it on the table, and I gift it to Savannah Underground. It is no longer mine. Yes.
Oh, Shelby's gonna kill us. Our set
You
designer
don't have
is
to
gonna
tell
kill.
Shelby about it. Just
can go live
put
with-
it somewhere. Put it somewhere.
She'll live with the collection of other haunted dolls. We're just gonna become a haunted doll museum from
I
now
do have
on.
another haunted doll at my house, which I do not take out. And you can have that one too.
Does Megan know about her?
Oh, it's in the shed.
Okay.
For those of you who listen, my wife will not allow haunted things to be in the house. So we have a shed, and when people send me haunted things, I'm like, well, to the shed.
To the shed
Or
you
the
go.
trunk of my car. Because I have like an amputation saw. I've got a possible Dybbuk box, and that weird coconut mask in my car.
So there you go. Swell. Well, this has been a fun time. Annabelle ranks out to a solid 7.
7.
Between all of us, and now it's still not a Bloody Mackenzie, and I now have this lovely thing.
Yes. Treat her nice.
Make it upside down.
And listen
It's my
for
lucky
weird
day.
clicks.
We're really just giving all of these ghost friends now. We're just
That's
a
all
big
we're
ghost
doing.
playhouse in here. So, thank you guys so much for listening. Please don't send me any of your haunted objects. No, please don't send us your haunted
Send
objects.
You don't have to bring them home. You've got
Send
a repository for them.
Oh, we've got something for it. No, but Jameson, thank you for being on the podcast today.
You're a wonderful guest.
Yes.
Woo!
Yes.
And
So
thanks for being a walking billboard for
Absolutely.
our podcast.
Absolutely. So if you guys want to hang out with Jameson and Ashley and all our other Parajunkie friends over on Patreon, definitely consider becoming a Parajunkie. We live stream every Sunday. We do ghost investigations and SC methods and all the fun things. So definitely join us over on Patreon. Also, please send in your ghost mail at ghostmail@hauntedcitypodcast.com. We love reading them, especially if you have photos and videos. Those are our favorites. So with that, though, my name is Madison Timmons.
And I'm Chris Susi.
And Jameson, would you like to say your name too?
I'm Jameson, I guess.
You guess?
He's unsure.
Who is it? Call the exorcist.
We've been duped.
And I'm Scary Doll.
Oh, God, don't give it a name. Oh, actually, if you become a parajunkie, the parajunkies can name it.
There you go.
That'll be y'all's task for the week to name that. But anywho, stay spooky, y'all. Hopefully we see you in the next one.
Yeah.